I've finished Astro Bot, got 100% and seen everything there is to be seen, and in this review I'm going to keep it quick and vague to avoid spoilers. Astro Bot is a game that celebrates everything PlayStation over the past 30 years and brings them all together in clever little ways over its around 10 hours gameplay time. It's fun and accessible for the whole family. Younger audiences will love the presentation and cuteness overload, and older audiences will contemplate their lives as memories are jogged on this nostalgia trip filled with plenty of fun platforming challenges. Unexpectedly, I platinumed Astro World when I first got my PlayStation 5 on release. I just could not put the game down, so the idea that developers Team Asobi would expand upon that with this new game definitely got me excited. Thankfully, it's exactly what I wanted. More of the same, but greatly expanded into a fully realized game. It starts with Astro and his spacefaring family cruising in the PS5 spaceship when all of a sudden aliens pick a fight with the bots, which destroys the mothership and scatters the family far and wide across the galaxy. It's your job as Astro, the fearless leader, to traverse the stars, visit each of the planets, find your friends, repair the ship, and thus the adventure begins. You'll be working your way through the nebulas. Within each nebula are many different planets, and some of which have levels hidden within those levels. Each planet has its own unique theme and environment, and it's just as pretty as the first game was. The game looked beautiful, with plenty of charming interactions and little ways Astro can interact with the world. It's one of those games where you just want to go around smacking everything just to see what little interaction it has, because they've put a lot of small details everywhere in the game. After flying into a planet on your DualSense speeder, which is motion controlled by the way, you are usually greeted with a power-up which sets the tone for what sort of level this will be. The power-ups feel better with more uses than before. Long arms to slingshot your way across the map or hit enemies from a distance, a mouse power-up that lets you shrink down to get into smaller places on the map, or the jetpack that lets you fly forward, crushing everything in your way. It's like they said, how many cool ways can we make players use this controller? You feel everything in Astro Bot through the DualSense controller's adaptive triggers, and it really is the best showcase of haptic feedback. It's utilized every chance they get in creative ways. It's hard to pick one example because everything you do in the game has unique feedback and a response in the controller. You definitely feel at one with Astro. Astro Bot's actually quite a simple game, but I did have a lot of fun figuring out where these bots were hidden in the levels. Even me as a grown adult was stumped by cleverly hidden bots, but it was satisfying to finally figure it all out, even when I did feel like a fool and they were hiding in plain sight. But that for me is one of the main things that draws me to this game. I'd like to think I'm very attentive when I play games, quite thorough, checking every nook and cranny, but even still, I was clearing levels missing a bot or two. Saving the bots is the aim of the game, even though some of the bots have adapted to their new lives and clearly don't need saving. Specifically, I did find a lot of joy in finding the PlayStation bots. It's great to get references to all of these beloved characters, some of which aren't even synonymous with PlayStation anymore. But with this, I did think about younger audiences. They'll have no idea who half of these characters are, because some of the games that are being referenced haven't had a new title in over a decade. But for me, an almost 30-year-old gamer, it unlocked fond memories from long ago. Progressing through the levels is pretty simple, with no crazy platforming sections, unless it's one of the challenge levels that can be found in some nebulas. They might look easy, but a few in particular, man, it felt like they took years off my life, man. But the main levels are light platforming puzzles, but still enjoyable. All the fun in Astro Bot comes from the pickups and how you're making your way through the levels, which feels very intended. This is a game all about kicking back, relaxing, and just being reminded. The first two sets of planets felt pretty standard, but the levels do get more complex and interesting later on. There's one underwater level that absolutely slapped, but I'll say this about the levels, they are all engaging. There is virtually zero downtime and you're always given something to do and are bombarded with little joyous challenges back to back. Each nebula ends in an old school Mario style boss fight. They are fairly simple but very enjoyable because of their scale and presentation. It's always a set piece moment. Also, it's worth noting that there is new enemies, but combat is still limited to your punch, spin and hover. This did let me down a little bit. I would like to have seen Astro's base moveset outside of the power-ups upgraded just a smidge. Clearing the bosses is fun, but it's what comes after them that I know most players are gonna absolutely love. It was the biggest highlight for me, and those are the PlayStation hero levels, where you essentially embody the essence of a certain game. I won't show you more than one, but the smile on my face when I got to go and catch apes with the net power-up was huge. And the other hero levels are better than this one, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but they gave me big Lego game vibes. In between levels, you'll make frequent visits back to the crash site where your mothership landed. Here, you'll see all of the bots that you've saved and command them to do certain actions lemming style to help you move around and discover things in this area, since it's basically a level in itself. But its main function is for you to see the progress that you've made, interact with your bots, and do some light customization. 3 things that I want to add rapid fire style that I liked. Each bot has a little flavor text when you find them, and a lot of them made me smile. If you understand the context and the references to those games, you'll find a lot of joy there. Pay attention to Astro's idle animations as well. Some really cool stuff in there, and that is contextual. So test it out when you are a hero, when you're standing on different surfaces, and see what you discover. If you are a completionist like myself, getting 100% is easy because you get to revisit levels with the help of the radar bird that will guide you in the right direction. It's not going to solve it for you, but it will point you in the right direction. Astro Bot is a game about discovering things for yourself, so I'll leave it there and summarize my thoughts. I really enjoyed what I played, a highly polished 3D platformer filled with nostalgia and homage to gaming. And I don't really have anything bad to say about the game, other than there's no leaderboards like in the first game. I think that's a weird choice. And I do think they could have gotten away with adding some co-op in there. I was thinking like, wow, this would be so much fun with friends to like share the moment of discovering things in the game. Also, I don't think there's the same sense of awe like with the first game in terms of it being this new thing, but I think that's because the first game was the first time most people used PlayStation's new hardware, the DualSense controller, and Astro's Playroom, the first game, was essentially a tech showcase for the DualSense controller. But saying that, even 4 years later, Astro still remains charming, playful, engaging, and filled with joy for all gamers.